Welcome everybody. Welcome back to another talk-tastic time-lapse video of RGBros. You're here with your buddy, your pal, your friend, Josh Davenport, creator of RGBros, the webcomic. We're starting out this comic doing some lousy perspective here on the Thanksgiving table. We got Baxter coming in his little bitty weird high chair. I don't know how many of you out there have kids, or if you've ever, put them in a high chair type apparatus. Having your kid up on some weird stalks where they eat food is already weird enough. When you put them in one of these little seats that Baxter uses in the holidays, I don't use them all the time when I put him on a table, but I think consistently put him in one for Thanksgiving. These things just kind of clamp on to the edge. That to me is very disconcerting. I can't look at a kid in one of those things and not be like, this is about 3 seconds from just plopping down to the floor. There we go. We got a weird Reggie head. The way Reggie looks in this first panel, I don't know. There's something about it that I'm just not a huge fan of. I wasn't, disappointed enough in it at the time to go back and redraw the whole damn thing. But, I don't know. I think it says like where his head sits or something. I can't quite place it. You can see me doodle around with it a little bit here. I originally had some grander plans for what was left on the table. I was like, I'm going to put some more, dishes on there, some casserole dishes that are empty with like, some little bits of crud or whatever, and a more elaborate, turkey skeleton. But that kind of all fell by the wayside. There's a quote which I may have said on here before. I can't remember if I did, but I am gonna, horribly paraphrase it from Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy. It's like you can come up with a great scene where your guy's fighting 1,000 skeletons, but if you're the person doing it, you also have to come around to like somebody's got to draw those 1,000 skeletons, And for me, it wasn't skeletons; it was casserole dishes or whatever. But that was my dilemma on this one. And if you notice in this second frame, we're a bit ahead of it now, but I changed the way I was going to do it a few times. I was going to make like a little standalone rack, and then I almost went with Reggie just doing some online shopping for the NES Classic. But I think it works a lot better if he actually has to go out to a store. And again, I get to change locations, so new background, which, sometimes just like to hurt myself. So I put a new background in. Switching up this mouth. I just could not settle on the mouth. Couldn't decide where he was going to be looking. Change that. I'm going to move his head here in a minute. And then a type of eyes I'm going to put on Reggie here in a minute is one of the types that I really use a lot. I don't know why. I really just enjoy doing it. The little dots instead of the full pupil. Just a little dot. A happy little dot. And then if you notice, a lot of times I like to put wall eyes on things, just both eyes looking in opposite direction. I don't know why that makes me laugh to myself every single time, but it does. Let's see. Got another turkey coming in. I don't know what. I'm not upset with the way this comic came out, but I feel like I could have done the turkey better. I feel like I could have done Reggie in that first frame better. There's always things you think you could do a little bit better, and that's it. And you can't draw a turkey without it looking like you're drawing something horrible. I hate to bring that up again. Actually, I don't hate to. If I hated to, I wouldn't do it. I'm gonna bring it up again. A turkey, when I'm drawing it, I don't know. It feels like just drawing a walk around dude's junk. I've said this before. Turkeys are just basically like weird feathered penises that are walking around. I mean, we all know this. This is not new. This is not a revolutionary idea. Here we go into the inking phase. And I was going to let you all know, I don't think I did it on this comic, but I have started a new writing method, which is the correct method to write comics, from my understanding, is that you actually fully flesh out the script and you write it out ahead of time. I am notoriously bad for doing something you should not do when making comics, which is just having an idea for a thing I think might look right or a joke that kind of works. I don't really flesh out the the punchline in my head or anything like that, then I'll start drawing the comic, and I'll get all the way through it, and then I will sit there staring at a finished comic and add like an hour or two to my time, just going like, well, how do I make them say the things that I wanted to get this across? And that takes way too much time. So now I'm actually going into Google Docs and writing out a script, and makes the lettering phase go a lot easier too, because I can just plug it in. Less time. I mean, you have some writing time up front, but it pays off many dividends in the back end. So if you're doing what I was doing, where you just have like a half-baked idea and you go with it, that can work. I'm not saying don't ever do it, because I've done it plenty, but you certainly save yourself a lot of time and effort, and I think it helps the writing a lot more too if you put it in. Plus, you end up with fewer typos, because Photoshop does not throw up errors on that stuff. And Google Docs or Microsoft Word or something like that will show you when you're spelling things like a toddler, which I am notoriously bad about doing sometimes. I had somebody point out to me that I mentioned that I draw this in Manga Studio and Clip Studio Paint, but I didn't specify that it is just Manga Studio 5 and or Clip Studio Paint Pro. They're pretty much interchangeable. I don't use the EX version or whatever. One, because it's a lot more expensive and I got no money. And two, because I don't really need the extra features of it right now. I'm not doing like multi-page layouts or anything. I have a copy of, I think, Adobe Dreamweaver. Is it Dreamweaver? Is that the one? Oh, InDesign. No, InDesign. Sorry. And if when I eventually get around to producing a book of comics, I'll probably lay it out in InDesign, to be honest. Not that I have anything against the EX version of this. I just already have InDesign, so I don't have to spend extra money on it. Again, cheaping out. Because, as we all know, comics artists, especially webcomics artists, are just rolling in dough. We all are. I've got tons of it to spend on that. And if you can't sense the sarcasm in my voice, you should go to get your hearing checked. Because it's being sarcastic. Yep. Ideas. Oh, here we are, drawing this hoodie. I actually have this hoodie. I wear it pretty much every day to work. Should probably get a new one. The thing's wearing out. Although it does have pockets in it, and I did not draw the pockets. So sue me. The little turkey waddle. Yeah, more turkeys. I had to go to the dentist today. I'm sure I don't have any crazy story about the dentist like I did about going to the doctor the other day. I did not, there's no real reason to have to talk to the dentist about your butt or your genitals at all. And if you do talk to your dentist about that, if they're instigating it, you should probably press charges or find a new dentist. And if you're instigating it, you're probably sick in the head. You might want to go to a different kind of doctor. Call a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Either one. I'm not really sure on the difference, but just go see one. Because you probably shouldn't be going in being like, hey, how are your teeth? And you're like, look at my genitals. That's what I'm going to call genitals around. This is genits. These are the genits. He is not a Best Buy employee over there, even though he's dressed remarkably like older Best Buy uniforms, like the one I used to wear when I worked at Best Buy at a bygone age. Luckily, that's not what I'm doing anymore. If you work at Best Buy now, more power to you. I'm just happy to get out of the retail game myself, especially around the holidays. There's a time when people did pay me to work Black Fridays. Now you could not pay me to work on Black Friday. That's not going to happen. A little silverware action. I had a time coming up with the color for that seat. I probably could have just gone back to earlier comics and looked at what I colored it. But again, that takes time and effort. And sometimes I put it in. Sometimes I don't. Almond Joy's got nuts. Mountains don't. But, yeah, had to go to the old dentist, get the gums scraped with a little tool. Got pretty bloody in there, But I did end up on the way to the dentist. I had to stop somewhere to use a restroom, and using a public restroom is always a grand adventure. And I've got many weird stories about things that have happened in public restrooms. But I'll just tell you the one that happened to me today, so we can get something entertaining in here. Um, so stop to use the restroom on my way to the dentist because sometimes it just hits you. You gotta go, and when you gotta go, you gotta go. So I stopped at like an Arby's or something like that. Got out, went in, went straight to the restroom, opened the door, and the way out of the bathroom in this Arby's is like you go in and the sink and the one urinal are both on your right. The urinal is right next to the sink. So I was just going in, you know, was going to use the urinal, but there was somebody already there. And lo and behold, it wasn't just somebody. It was a very old man who was, he was doing his business. He was using the urinal the way it's meant to be used, except for instead of, just unzipping his pants, he had regressed to the toddler stage and just pulled the pants all the way down. So walked into the bathroom, immediately greeted by a really old man, bare ass cheeks, just right there. And I was like, what is happening? This is not the first strange interaction that I've had with an older gentleman in a men's room, and that sounds like something really different happened there. But I've had a couple of experiences in public restrooms with older dudes, and not in the way you're probably thinking right now, but seeing that guy's bare ass was one of them. Another time was like, I don't know what it is about being an old guy. Maybe this will happen to me one day when I'm older. But I mean, I would hope that this was not a guy who had some mental situation where he needed somebody to be there with him, because if he did, they weren't there. There was nobody there for him. He was in there by himself. I don't know if he was at the restaurant by himself, but he was certainly in the bathroom taking a bare ass piss by himself. But there's that situation there. And then another time, I can't remember where I was, but I was in a restroom. And an old guy comes in, and he's just like, he doesn't go full pants down around the ankles, but he immediately starts taking like the full open fly, like just coming as far as you can get without taking your pants down, like about a good 10 feet away from the urinal. So he's doing a lot of prep work on the walk up. You're just like, what happens in your brain when you get older, where you're just like, hey, everybody wants to see my stuff. I need to get it out there. The people are really begging. They're thinking when they get up in the morning, like, you know what I hope I run into today? Some old guy who's not shy about showing everybody his balls, because I'm going to provide that service for everyone I possibly can, provided I feel the need to, empty out the old bladder. So enjoy that. Keep that in mind next time you're in a restroom. I don't know if the same thing happens with older ladies. I've never, experienced that. I don't go into a lot of, there aren't a lot of co-ed bathrooms around. And I don't make it a habit of going into ladies' restrooms, so I have no idea. If you're a lady with a story about something crazy that only old ladies do in a women's room, feel free to drop that down in the comments. We'll all have a good laugh or shock, disbelief about it. Whatever. Looks like we're coming up. What am I doing? Oh, yeah, there we are. I'm putting in words. There's actually a comic happening here. Oh, these crooked tales. One day I will get good at making word bubble tales. I don't know when that day will be, but I'm hoping it's soon. Zoop, zoop, zoop. This, been working on this new way of doing, loud exclamation bubbles like that, and it's good, but also you have to spend a lot more time trimming the edges, but I think it looks better overall, so I'm not going to complain about it. Gobble, question mark. And here we are down to the last part of this. Going to be putting in the NES Classic font there. It looks like this comic is wrapping up, so I want to thank my Patreon supporters again for making all this possible, and to all of you for listening to me ramble on about public restrooms. Thanks again, and I'll see you in a couple days.